So now we get to where search is going. So Google 2.0, we're now going towards Google 3.0. And this is both like a continuation of some existing trends and a shift of paradigms all at once. So if previously it was just I go to Google, I look at a search result page, and I always click through. Then it was I'm clicking through less because I get some of the information within the search result page itself. And now it's going to move towards, over time, TBD on that timeline, I get an AI answer. I can go back and forth with the AI chat. Then I get maybe below that, or maybe as part of cited sources, a small number of links. And then I go through to a website. So if the old paradigm, which we're still kind of in, is there's a search query, everyone is jumping up and down, me, to try and get this click. It's going to more move towards, well, I have a search query. There's this answer that's generated, and then here's some of the sources. And honestly, for a lot of things, this is more efficient. Everyone has different opinions. I have mine. I'm sure everyone has their own about whether they like this or don't, what they prefer it for or not. But there's definitely a lot of things that are low stakes where it's just easier to, I don't necessarily need to read through a bunch of sources to come to a transformative conclusion. It's just, what's the answer to this? So what do we actually know about the coming changes to search so far? Now, these are all screenshots from back when Google launched this. And honestly, even though they've done lots of tests, I don't know that we've particularly learned a lot. But we know that chat at the top will likely eat many more clicks. And again, this is a continuation of a trend we've already seen. It's as results have got richer with answers, click-through rates go down. That's a trend that we continue to see. It's going up now for various reasons, but that is just not slowing down. So it's going to get closer to zero sum. And again, we'll see how these things turn out, but where there's just going to be fewer clicks, and that's a trend that's already accelerated. Once we started to get featured snippets, it was fewer and fewer clicks, so it goes more to zero sum. And we know, we've seen through various experiments and statements directly from Google that they're going to encourage people to use the chat. That's this part at the bottom here. They've tested things like perspectives where they just show individuals. In the last maybe 6 months, there started to be, in a previous update, a lot of forums. I just took the screenshot today and added it, but where you search something and they have like discussions in forums, and they'll show Reddit and Quora. Now, I think this is a fad and that some of these are terrible results. That's just my opinion, and I don't think that'll stay. But what it tells us is, even though it's too early to make assumptions, like even really quickly on this one here, we know that Google is going to want to experiment with showing individual perspectives between this and a bunch of other things they're doing insane. But overall, what does all this mean for SEO? So the amount of variables here, like there's even been news in the last couple of days that Google is going to launch SGE, Search Generative Experience, which is that thing I just showed you, in May. And it's supposedly launching generally now for some people. I still think there's a lot of open-ended questions. Like, how well does it actually work at scale? How does it look when it launches? Like, there's been a lot of tests they've done over time. A big one is how will users respond to more AI chat? Like, it's one thing, we kind of get caught up in our Silicon Valley bubble, I think, but you go out in random America, and I think we have no idea how people are going to respond to this. So many possible outcomes here. And then legally, there's more questions. There's this New York Times versus an OpenAI precedent, which I think is going to sort of set the tone for how can LLMs sort of give you information based on training data that they didn't pay for. Even since I put this presentation together, there's licensing agreements, like so many variables here. Google is getting sued by the, is it the FTC, whatever it is, for antitrust. What is Google's liability going to be for creating content versus citing content? So many possible outcomes there. And then from a business model perspective, why would Google disrupt itself? Basically, they have this money printing machine, and there's a lot of incentives to not turn it off, because switching to this new model, it's not clear exactly how they would monetize it. So is Google even going to launch SGE in 2024? Again, there's now new announcements that it's going to launch. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. And my thing is, I am not going to try to get into the game of predicting that, because there's just too many variables between everything I just cited. So cite the great Wayne Gretzky, I'd rather skate to where the puck is going, not where it's been, based on what do I think is already true that AI will accelerate.